E aí, família! Okay, in a webinar about Brazil, I had to get at least one Portuguese word right in the beginning. But now that I did that, I can officially say, hi everyone. Welcome to our Level Up Digital Summit, and thank you all for joining us for today's Esports Awards webinar. I'm Ana Xisdê, a Brazilian esports hostess working professionally with esports for almost 5 years. I've been very fortunate to have worked with over 14 different game titles and helped some of the biggest tournaments and events in Brazil to communicate with their audience in a light and engaging way. I'm an ambassador for the Brazilian Bank, Base, and Make-A-Wish, and I was the first Brazilian to join the Esports Awards judge panel, which you can tell I'm very excited about. Okay, but enough about me, because today we are bringing you a webinar curated by the Sports Awards team with some very special speakers spamming all breadths of the sports industry, who will be introduced shortly. But before we begin, I would like to invite Jorge Solanas, Marketing and Content Executive at the Sports Awards, to kick off the proceedings. Hi, Jorge.
Hi everyone, my name is Jorge Solanas, and I know you used to see Mike or Renan here, but this time is my time to shine. You might not know me very well, but I'm the guy behind the social media sometimes, and also the person involved with the relationships that we are building between the Portuguese and the Spanish-speaking communities and the Esports Awards. So they thought it would be nice for me to welcome you all to another Level Up event. So yeah, here we are. First of all, thank you, Ana. It's brilliant to have you hosting the summit as one of our experienced panel members, and thank you everyone at home for joining us today. Tonight should give a real insight into regional hotspots in esports, and we'll be focusing in Brazil. As I was born in this beautiful country, I'm a huge advocate for the region, and my excitement to see it growing is unmatched. You can expect a well-rounded discussion with various different topics being discussed. I am sure that some valuable information will be shared with all of you. We have an impressive panel with us tonight, a lot of big names from the Brazilian scene, some of which I'm lucky enough to know personally, and I know firsthand the amount of expertise we have on the table for this summit. We will be hosting an informal networking session after the webinar today on Zoom. The link can be found here in the description, so I hope to meet many of you there. I also want to give a quick reminder that the tickets are live for the Esports Awards 2022 happening December 13th, as you all probably already know and have been on your calendars. So if you want to secure tickets and meet all of us there, just go to the link in the description and you can find more information. On that note, thank you again for tuning in. And without further ado, I'm happy to hand it back to Ana to commence the proceedings.
Thank you so much, George. I'm so happy to share this experience with you and the amazing team you guys have. I even remember when I went to the Sports Awards last year, and I was so glad to have someone to speak Portuguese to, because to be honest with you, I was nervous. But I hope now that we can present everything related to the Sports Awards this year as good as we know it is. And I hope you guys are ready, because tonight's theme will be a topical discussion focused on regional hotspots in sports, talking especially about Brazil. And we are going to split this up into two 30-minute panel discussion with a short intermission. At any point, if you have a question, please write it into the comments and I'll try to get to it. But if you can keep the question related to the topic that we are talking about, that would be great. We anticipate the webinar will be around 1 hour and 20 minutes. And then after, please join us around 9:20 p.m. BST, which is 4:20 p.m. ET, and 1:20 p.m. PT for some breakout rooms for networking with the speakers and other industry professionals. This session is open to everyone, and they prove extremely valuable in making connections within the sports space. So we definitely encourage you to join. The link will be posted in the comments at the end. Without further ado, I want to welcome our speakers for today. So starting with Jaime Pádua Filho, founder and co-CEO of FURIA. Hi, Jaime. How are you?
Hello, Anna. How are you doing? I'm good. How about you?
Good to have you here. I'm fine. I'm a little nervous as well,
Okay.
but it's okay. It's okay. Can you tell us a bit about the work that you do related to esports?
Okay, great. So my name is Jaime Pádua. I'm the founder and co-CEO of FURIA. I'm also an economist who worked for almost 10 years for the financial market. as an investment specialist in Xisdê Investimentos. But to be honest, my true passion always has been gaming and esports. So we started FURIA 5 years ago as a regional CSGO team with 7-8 people. Now we have almost 200 people working around us, among streamers, athletes, back office staff, 11 game titles and facilities in United States and Brazil. So in FURIA, I supervise all departments related to operation, esports team, leagues, finance, legal, data, HR, and others. So I'm happy to be here. It's a pleasure to be around people that I love and admire here in the Brazilian industry. It's going to be my pleasure to talk about the Brazilian scene as well. So thank you so much.
It's great to have you here. We also have Roberta Coelho, CEO at MIBR. Hi, Roberta. I love when we get to share discussions like this with a powerful woman.
Oh, thank you. Hi, Anna. Hi, Jaime. It's a pleasure to be here. I'm Roberta Coelho. I'm the CEO of MIBR. MIBR is, I think, the oldest and most traditional esports team in Brazil. We're turning 20 years next year. And I joined the team 1 year ago. Before that, I worked for 10 years in Rock in Rio, which is the biggest music festival in the world that started operations here in Brazil like 35 years ago. And Rock in Rio started its own gaming event, Game XP, a couple of years ago. And I was the CEO of Game XP. And that's when I joined the gaming world and became totally passionate about it. And I'm super happy that now I work for the esports, the esports world. And I believe this industry is amazing. As Jaime, I take care as a CEO, I take care about everything, operations, performance, marketing, HR, and all, and the expansion to new titles as well. So yes, it's a pleasure to be here. It's a pleasure to talk about Brazil, this amazing country with such an amazing people cheering for our esports community. So thank you.
It's a pleasure to have you here, Roberta. Our third speaker is Renan Philip, co-founder at 3C Gaming. Welcome, Renan. It's great to have you here.
Thanks, Anna. Hi, Jaime. Hi, Roberta. Great to be here.
Renan, besides managing some of the biggest names in Brazilian esports, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. Yeah. I've been doing a lot of stuff. I'll piggyback on Roberta and Jaime. So I'm Renan. I've been working within Brazilian gaming and esports for the past 10 years. Had the privilege and the opportunity of getting to know them, and of course you as well, Anna, for a very long time. I'm currently one of the co-founders and CEO of 3C Gaming. 3C is a gaming company that represents Nobru, Serol, and some of the largest content creators we've ever had in Brazilian gaming, as well as major brands that are looking into gaming and their creative strategy for gaming specifically, and the esports team called Fluxo.
Great. A lot of people, important people behind, in front of you and all around, basically. To join us and give his view about esports in Brazil is Chico Tattini, Head of Partnerships at Zero Nation. Hey, Chico, are you ready for this?
Hey guys, how doing? Well, there's no much more to say about our scenario. Jaime, Roberta, and Renan are, I guess, among the best people to talk about. I'm a huge fan of all of them. I'm currently the head of partnerships of Zero Zero Nation. We are rebooting our operation in Brazil. It's a Norwegian club. It's a great pleasure to be with them. Formerly, I was at INTZ and Hensgen, two Brazilian clubs, major in League of Legends, and already worked with Druid. Before that, I came from the entertainment industry, working at Universal Pictures and Sport TV, the sports channel from the Grupo Globo. I guess that's it, and I'm really looking forward to have a chat with all of you guys.
We are looking forward to listen to all of you talk. But last but not least, we have one more panelist to join us. We have João Vitor Facanha, Jota from Los Grandes. Jota, the last time I saw you, I think we were at a Ronaldinho Gaúcho's tournament. So how are you?
Hi guys. Hi Chico.
Hello.
Hi Jaime.
Hey, mate.
Roberta, Renan, everyone. Yes, and it was the last time we saw each other for sure.
Yeah.
I used to be coach at the time, but good
Yeah.
memories.
Now, what do you do for a living?
I was in action. Yeah. Now I'm a streamer actually. I'm an influencer for Los Grandes. I represent them in a bunch of casual events and sometimes some kind of stuff like that. I used to be a soccer player in America, and then I went to do some college. I did computer science, which I didn't graduate, but I did and like 90% of the course. I'm planning to come back right now to get my degree, and then I came back to Brazil, started to work with esports, and I know Free Fire, which I kind of wrote my name, and it started to get to know people like that. It's kind of weird because I'm hearing you guys with all your things, everything that you guys did before. But I'm new in this word, but I'm so pleasure to be here, and it's gonna be a great honor to be speaking with you.
For me, it's crazy to be listening to you all speaking English because we are so used to speak Portuguese with each
Yeah,
other, right?
90% of the world
Absolutely.
doesn't know that I can speak English, but yeah, I actually have a pretty good English, I think.
Yeah, it's fine. It's going to be fine. Jota, it's great that you have this experience with Free Fire because we are definitely going to talk about the mobile scene in Brazil and in the world that I believe our country was really impactful on that in general. So now that we introduced everybody, let's start the questions. But it's important for you to know that this is an open conversation, flowy. So I'll ask someone to answer it first. So, we have this right on money, and then anybody can jump in at any point. Okay?
Okay.
Okay.
We are set.
Good
So
to know.
let's start.
Thank
Something
you.
that became very clear for everyone in the world is that Brazilians are very passionate about esports. We are even the biggest market in Latin, even though we speak a different language than the rest of the region. Jaime, what makes Brazilian fans the most diehard followers?
Jamie.
Yeah, Jamie. Jamie's fine. Okay, so
Jaime, we can
yeah,
speak, a
all
bunch of
good, all good.
different ways.
Yeah, all good.
Love you, Jaime.
I prefer
Jaime.
Jamie than
Okay,
others.
Jaime.
Okay, it's good. So I believe I traveled to several places around the world, and to be honest, I have to say the Brazilian fans are the most passionate by far. I don't know. I believe it's kind of the Brazilian culture to live sports, to live competition. We are a nation used to cheering for big idols, great idols like Senna, Pelé, Ronaldo, Neymar, Guga, so many others. So I believe it's in our blood, right? So we like to cheer for the big idols. Now in esports, we have great idols as Fallen, Taco, Keiserato, Nobru, and others, and we live that. We like to be part of that. So I believe it's part of our nature to enjoy the games more than other people, to be part of the competition. So I believe it's in our blood, it's part of our culture.
Roberta, do you agree?
I totally agree. I think that it's and on top of what Jaime was saying,
See?
we
It's not
have
just
our
me.
national
All good.
our national teams, right? I mean, who never cheered and screamed for our soccer national teams, or we have our own soccer teams or local soccer teams. So I think that yes, it's in our blood. Our fans are passionate. Brazilians are passionate as a whole, and we super take advantage of that. And I think that we cheer for each other as well. So if FURIA is playing a final or it's playing a playoffs, of course we're going to cheer for them. We're all Brazilian, so we care for each other. And of course, when we are in the server against each other, then it's something else. but I think that it's and this is something very particular on esports. In esports, we cheer for each other. If we're talking about other sports, not that much. But I think that yes, I think the party just started in Brazil, and we're still about to show the world what it is to party and to cheer for esports.
Renan, I would say that we like to cheer for each other, especially because Brazilians like an underdog storyline, and we have a lot of that here.
That's super fair. And one of the things that we always get back to is that Brazilians and maybe piggybacking off of other sports, but Brazilians' second national sport is always whatever Brazil is winning. And so people like Roberta and Jaime winning globally always helps us a ton getting esports into the minds and the overall fandoms a lot harder and cheering a lot harder, just because if we're good, we as a nation tend to follow the sport that much more. So I'd say that adds up to everything else that the guys said already.
Yeah, Chico, what is your point of view about the Brazilian fans being so diehard followers?
Oh, I really like that because I mean I came from the traditional sports. I worked in the World Cup and the Olympics when I was in Global. So and it might be a tricky thing to say, but I see the passion in sports much bigger than in the Olympic era. I don't know why. I can't explain exactly why, but the passion that I've seen in esports is somehow just like the football or soccer. I don't know who else who is listening to us, but the thing is, this passion it says a lot about the prospect that we have for the Brazilian scenario. You know, that's what intrigues me a lot here.
Yeah, I would say also that, like, when we compare to traditional esports, even though Brazilians are very passionate about it as well, we are not that able to really practice a lot. And gaming is for everyone. So you can cheer for a team that is playing a game in a tournament, and then you can go home and you yourself can go and play the same game. Maybe not at that level, at least in my experience, but it is very, very, relatable. Jota, and you know a lot about that because with Free Fire, we can see how passionate people are, that basically they have been impacted by this game in a different way that they've never been before.
Oh yeah, I mean, you just said everything right there. It's just the point that esports is just something
I
that
want
you
to give my opinion as well, right?
yeah you can be doing this like all the time. It's not like soccer or football, like Chico said, like that you need a space to practice. I went to America to play soccer, and it's completely different to the world that I'm living right now. So if I get my cell phone in my hands right now, people don't even know, but I can be playing right now, practicing in the corner. So this
Yeah.
makes like everybody be very, very passionate about it. So I think this is the main point. There is not even much to talk about because everybody say a lot, but this is the main point. I think esports is something that can be around everybody, it's just like in a specific group.
Yeah, but Jota, we experience a lot with Free Fire, where young players, they can see how
Yeah.
their life can change with the
Oh,
game. How
yeah.
do you see this reality for these young players that now can see sports as a way to a better life?
Yeah, I work as a coach for not much, but that was enough to, being around a lot of people's life, including families and mothers and kids. And I had to work with kids with 13, 14, even 12, and around playing high level. And this intrigues me because when I was 12, the only thing I wanted to do was go to I don't know, to the street to try play some ball, with my friends. and and it changed like really fast. My life changing in a month. Some other players that I worked with changing like 2 weeks or so. So the kids are really, really, they have like some kind of anxiety to being on the cell phone, to be like, Mom, I want to play, I want to be good. And this is really good. Like sometimes that kid that has around 13, 14 can do something that people that have 23, 22, they're not even doing it, so this is really, really, really nice.
Yeah, Renan, you have some young people, in your belt, and some of them came from Free Fire, and they had to grow a lot faster. What is your view about that?
Yeah, not just grow as content creators or influencers, but also as business people in my case, right? And so within 3 years, and Jota is a guy that follows us very closely. But within 3 years, Nobu went from being a kid that had a dream and lived in a community and right in a favela here in São Paulo, to owning a multi-million-dollar business, which is Fluxo, and of course also doing pretty great as an ambassador for multiple brands and so forth. So it was for him a matter of evolving in 3 different areas, right? Him as a person, of course, just getting older and getting and to be a better person. Him as a businessman, getting to understand how to manage a company, what's a P&L, how to pay taxes, and so forth. And thirdly, as a brand ambassador, as a content creator, understanding how much he means to the community and how much he can dictate what the community or the kids, right? The other kids that look up to him will follow him in whatever he does or whatever he tells them to do, or in essence, right? And so it's been an amazing journey. It was for me at least the first time that I've seen somebody able to move, to ascend his own life, his own family's lives, and his own community's life as well through gaming. And so it was a pretty great factor to see, and so humbling to be able to be a part of it.
Yeah, Jaime, now a lot of kids want to do the same. Do you think this is realistic?
Yeah, totally. I believe the mobile games in Brazil is taking soccer as a way to underprivileged kids to get higher in society. So I believe Fluxo and Los Grandes are doing a very good job in mobile games and also other things here. And I also believe that it's a way to change the society. So I believe you are truly correct in that answer and that affirmation.
Jaime agrees. Roberta, when we think about the ecosystem, right? Is there a limit? Like, we have a lot of young players, young kids that really want to play and work with esports. How do you see this in the coming years? Because is it going to get saturated or just keep growing? What's your opinion?
I think both, actually. Of course, that as all other job opportunities and all other industries, we're going to have a limitation. I think that right now the industry will grow a lot, especially because of what we were saying, or the 2 things we were saying. First, because Brazilians really cheer for esports and everyone is very enthusiastic. As I said, I think the party just started. We will grow a lot more than we have grown in the past years. I think the pandemic was a real push for that, especially when we're talking about mobile games. And as was Jaime and Renan was saying, I heard them saying, a couple of times, like how mobile games actually substituted soccer for those in the favela. Nobru, I heard him saying a couple of times, saying, "Oh, I couldn't play soccer," because he was supposed to play soccer. He was playing soccer before, and then suddenly with the pandemic, he had to change, and this completely changed his life. So of course, that a lot of kids, and I'm not saying only poor kids, I'm saying a lot of kids are looking at that as a potential, as a profession. And we love that. We as teams, we love that. We want as much talents as possible in the market. We want to work those talents. We want to help those talents grow. But of course, as every other industry, there is a limit. I don't think we got there. I think there is a lot of space to grow still. But yeah, in the future, there's going to be a limit, and the good ones are staying. But then we're going to have like a tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, tier 4, as in soccer. I think there's space for a lot of people.
Chico, how do you see this future?
Well, I think there's a changing in the actual profile from the executives in the scenario, and that's a good thing. In the beginning, it was the gamers themselves that starts the scenario. That's a good thing. There's a lot of passion about it. It's organic. That's huge. But nowadays, we have some good executives from different areas. For example, myself or Roberta or even Jaime that worked in the financial for 10 years, as he said. And that's a good thing. But it's important for all of us to see what do we need right now to the scenario to go and grow up. Because, and please don't get me wrong, but there's a lot of great social media guys, but everybody wants to be a social media. I started in this industry as the first exclusive commercial guy. So that was an opportunity. And don't you think we have another opportunities like that? I mean, is there any accountant for esports? I think there's a lot of opportunities who wants to work in the scenario, but unfortunately, no as for social media or the marketing areas that are packed with a lot of good guys and girls in the scenario.
Oh, and can I make a compliment?
Of course.
Not a compliment.
I love when
Sorry.
it
Can I add something? I think what Chico said is perfect. I think that the gaming scenario, and of course the esports scenario, it's in that big ecosystem. It's because there's infinite opportunities. When we say, and the statistics always say, and New Zoo is always saying that the gaming industry is bigger than the music and the and Hollywood industry together, we're not only talking about revenues, we're talking about opportunities. So for instance, Jaime was saying he's an economist. I'm an economist as well, and I work with games. And I'm not a player. I love the industry. I love all the possibilities around it, but I'm not a player. Chico, I don't know what he is.
Why are you saying I'm not a player?
No. I don't know if you are a player.
How did you get it?
Because you were saying, "Oh, Roberta."
It's the seed.
yeah, that's it. That's the connection, Roberta.
Yes, I love.
Oh yeah, I say that. I'm sorry.
When he mentioned accountant, I love to give this example. So I always tell her that Mariana, and one of MIBR's accountant, I always say to her that she is a celebrity because I always give her as an example. She's an accountant that works with games, and that's amazing. Like, I mean, So and now a lot of companies and our sponsors are entering non-endemic and endemic and non-endemic companies are entering the gaming world because they want to be there. They want to communicate with young people. And of course, they are opening gaming departments. So you can work at, I'm going to give one of my sponsors example. You can work at Itaú, which is the biggest private bank in Latin America, with games. You're working with games, but in Itaú. And that's amazing. So when we're talking about opportunities, yes, I think there are a lot of opportunities still for a player profession, because we're going to grow a lot in Brazil. We have a lot of space to grow, zillions of gaming, different gaming titles to come and to become esports. But we have great opportunities in all other areas, all other departments inside this big gaming ecosystem. So thank you, Chico.
That's great.
Really fast, Roberta, you're saying the one thing that is really important as well, because you say that you have infinities opportunities, and me, I don't know about you guys, but me, the esports world started as a second plan. I mean, you say you're kind of Jaime as well. Everybody, has some kind of formation and none. And I'm just feeling like, oh my God, I'm in the corner because I don't even have a formation yet. But I'm curious of life, where I went to do something that was be a professional soccer player, and then out of nowhere, I started playing some video games. And today, I'm I'm in a panel with big people, and this that you say is just something so important because out of nowhere, some kind of opportunity can be making, to get into the scenario. So I think that this is really important. When you say that it's going, I don't know, saturate, something like that, I don't even see it, something like that coming up, I just see like us growing. And if today we have like 5-6 people on the panel, maybe next time we're going to have 12, so the big point as well.
Yeah, that's very interesting, and I wanted to know your take on it, Jota, because we are talking a lot about the opportunities that we have behind the scenes, but as Chico said, a lot of people want to be in the social media aspect, and you are in it. Do you feel there is still a lot of room for other young players to join you?
I mean, yeah, it just depends how. I have two principles of my life when it comes to the scenario of esports, which is dedication, focus. Like you can be whatever you want if you dedicate yourself to this. Like you cannot, put in your mind that you're gonna be on the big stage and try to compete, and in the great social medias if you're not even dedicating yourself to that. Like Jaime is starting to build this as I don't know. I don't even know how many years ago. Renan as well, Roberta as well, Chico. So everybody has a history, everybody has a lot of time dedicating themselves to this to make happen. So to a kid, it's really important to you go to work with them and make them realize that if they want to be the biggest ones, they need to dedicate themselves, and be focused, like going to practice and not even getting late and answer the necessary, listening to a lot of people, because when you listen to everybody, you are at least like learning, so yeah, I think it's a great space.
Yeah. At some point in this whole conversation, we almost very often kind of compare the esports scene with the traditional esports here in Brazil, because we feel Brazilians kind of connected the passion that they have for both in some way. And that's why I want to bring the question that we have on chat, because it's a very good one. And I want to know from you, Jaime. Pavel, I don't know. I'm going to read it in Portuguese, okay? Pavel Medvedev, okay? He asked, would be great to hear your opinion on how the World Cup in November would influence sponsorship budgets to esports fall this year. Thanks.
Whoa,
What do you think, Jaime?
that's a great question. I believe Chico is the right guy to answer that, but I give my take. I believe the World Cup is gonna be very good for the sports world. I believe we have several competitions around the world, especially in Brazil. We'll have the CS:GO Major in Rio. It's gonna be like a World Cup, like a FIFA World Cup in Brazil. People will stop everything to watch the games, to go to the streets, go to the stadium. So I believe the energy behind the sports, the competition, is gonna motivate all the sponsors, all the brands to want to be part of that, right? So I believe the scenario of the sports developing around the world, if the biggest competition is gonna be good for everyone, not only for the sports traditional sports, but also for the esports as well.
Do you
What's
agree,
your
Chico?
take, Chico? Yeah.
Well, yeah. I was expecting to assume this one. The thing is, you don't have a lot of slots for all the brands to sponsor the World Cup. So you have the opportunity to other sports, and esports is huge. Esports is big. Esports is as passionate as football. Uh, we have the CS sponsors coming next, and it's huge. So as a head of partnerships and a guy who worked in the sports scenario, I see as opportunity. But the thing is, the guys that are already working with the sports scene, the World Cup itself, they are great professionals. They have a lot of skills, background. So we should have in mind that we need to do our job in a very efficient way. I mean, our decks should be right, our numbers should be good, and should be sustainable, and most of all, we should practice what we preach. I mean, if we say we're gonna give you that, give you this, we should give them that, because that's how things work. And in my opinion, the esports scenario has a huge advantage that we don't depend on any confederation to do our jobs, and that's great. That's an opportunity for us.
I think this answer is perfect for me, Renan, to bring another question from the chat. Because Renan Assunção asked, what are the biggest challenges in terms of business environment for Brazil scenario to grow?
I don't think there's any direct. I think we're in a pretty good state where the industry itself has, and we used to say that 2 years ago, we used to say a lot that we needed more professionals, we needed more people with experience, and then Chico's, Jaime's, and Roberta's came in and professionalized the industry. Maybe that's 5 years ago, not just two. So that was one of the steps. We needed a lot more experienced people really wishing to raise the bar in terms of what we were doing as an industry. And that's being done. Now it's up to us. Of course, not just for Brazil. We're in an economic scenario where things are starting to get challenging. My personal view is that it might get worse within the next couple of months or year. and so that might be a challenge by itself. But I think also given the fact that we're disruptive enough, we have different business models. We don't necessarily depend on one type of revenue model. I think we'll do pretty well, even compared against other sports, or even compared against the overall economy. So might be too optimistic of an answer, but hope it responds.
Let's see if Roberta has another side of the history. Are you optimistic as well, Roberta?
No, I am very optimistic.
I think we have to be, right?
Yes, I am very
We're
optimistic.
Brazilians.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I have to agree with Renan that we have elections this year in Brazil, and I think we're going to have the next year is going to be pretty rough in terms of knowing where we're heading. But in the esports world specifically, we're growing a lot. Sponsors are looking first before talking about sponsors. I think that Renan is right. It's becoming a very professional industry. So teams are very well organized, and especially those who are playing global scenarios. So teams are organized as companies, and the new ones who is coming know that to win and to stay in the scenario, you have to be like that. If not, you're not going to survive. Chico was saying in his previous answer that you have to deliver what you promise. So this is all part of this, professional industry, and I think that we're a very good industry in Brazil right now, ready to keep growing. And especially when we have the non-endemic companies looking at the esports scenario with new eyes. So I think like 3 years ago, 4 years ago, they will look at us and will say, "Oh my God, no, I don't want to get involved. Violence. Oh my God, my clients are going to kill everyone if I get involved with shooting or FPS games and all." And now they look at us and they say, "Okay, that's not really the truth. So let's start working together." So what we're saying is like non-endemic companies where the big money is, and looking at the esports world in a different way, understanding that baby steps for now, starting baby steps, but then understanding that those steps can be larger. And hopefully, I think that we all hope for the same thing here. Hopefully, they will understand that sometimes we deliver more than traditional media. A lot of times, actually, we deliver more than traditional media. And I think that, yes, we're going to get there. So I am optimistic, even though economically wise, I think that we're going to have, the next years are going to be challenging for everyone, for the whole world. But I think that as a very democratic content, because everyone in a mobile can access that content, we have huge opportunities ahead.
Jota, what are your thoughts?
I mean, I agree. I mean, is like Renan was saying, it's not even something, it's getting too professional, like Roberta say as well. But I think it's actually getting easier, to start to do something. I put Free Fire as example because this is the only scenario that I'm literally part of it. Like I cannot be talking about CS and some kind of games because I don't know about it. But I try to follow them, and I'm actually learning. But in Free Fire, it's easier. I mean, 4 friends, they're really good and can start like baby step, as I should say, and starting the third division, then going to League B, and later on trying to get like the access to the biggest league. The sponsors, they're gonna start to coming up, they're gonna be looking to. So to four guys, they can be starting to create a team or or something like that. But it's different. Like I think you go to person by person. Some guys are coming strong, with some money on it and try to get the best and start already in large steps. But I think that the main thing is like Roberta say, go easy, try to feel the thing. If this is the right thing for you, not try to take someone's spot, like respect. And because as the years go by, you're gonna be feeling you're in the scenario. So yeah, I agree.
Hannah,
It's
can
great
I
to
add
have.
something here?
Yes, of course, of course.
I believe there's another point that the dynamics of the society is changing, right? So maybe most of the brands, when they are trying to reach some kind of people like young adults or kids or something like that, they go to the traditional sports. They don't find that people there. So they
Yes.
look to the esports as a new way to connect it with young people,
Sure.
I was gonna
kids,
say
and young
that.
adults. Yeah, so there's a whole new opportunities for everyone in that strategy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Great
it's
point.
great to hear so many optimistic answers. And for us, we understand because we are Brazilians, but maybe some of the viewers don't know why this joke is a thing. And just so you know, you're watching, is that we know that it is tough to be a Brazilian, to not speak English as your first language, to not speak even Spanish, that is the same language as the rest of our region. We know that we are not, a huge developed country, and we know if we don't have that optimistic mind, we wouldn't be here, we wouldn't be talking about Brazil, about how big of a country we are and our potential with esports in general. So it's very rewarding to be here explaining this joke to you, because we know how hard it is. At the same time, we celebrate everything that we already accomplished and what we have looking forward. So yeah, this that wraps up our first half. It is complete, but we still have a lot of interesting points to make to you and explain about our country. So stay here with us. We have a short break and we'll be back very soon in 2 minutes, so don't go far. Okay, and before we do that, here's a short teaser for the Sports Awards 2022 in Las Vegas. And remember, tickets are live on the Sports Awards website, so go grab one before they sell out.
You know what they say, Val. What happens in Vegas stays in Vegas.
Let's go find out, baby.
All right, let's do it.
Let's go.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Esports Awards.
And the winner is Atlanta Face from the CDF. Miles Ross. Shots. 100 Thieves. Big shout out to Esports Awards for having us out.
Welcome to the red carpet here at the Esports Awards.
You're not ready, actually. It's gonna be insane.
Esports Awards just pulled out all the stops to make this a night to remember.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are live for the Esports Awards 2022 right here in Resorts World, Las Vegas.
We are back. So welcome again. We've got some more very interesting topics coming up. So let's bring back our speakers. Welcome back, everybody. We have a lot of things to discuss. to be honest, I'm very excited about the next one because we are going to start comparing a little more mobile and PC. And there is this thing, mobile versus PC, and especially, James, because recently mobile gaming has been breaking some records around the world. Brazil has an impact on that. So I want to know your point of view on that topic, especially when we do this comparison.
Okay, I believe the mobile games in Brazil is growing very fast, and that's good. I believe it's part of our situation here in Brazil. Most of the population doesn't have access to PCs, so it's normal that now that we have opportunity to people to enjoy games, enjoy esports, to be part of the system. So it's natural that the ecosystem of the mobile games is going to be bigger than it was 2 years ago, 1 year ago. But I believe we have opportunities in both worlds, right? So uh, as the same level as the mobile games keeps growing, I believe the PC games as well is breaking records every month. So we have a lot of competitions that we are breaking records in terms of audience, in terms of prize pool, in terms of users. So I believe it's a great opportunity for both worlds. And to be honest, I believe smart organizations will keep investing in both PC games and mobile games strategically.
Do you agree, Roberta?
I totally agree. I think that we have the mobile games. There's this nature of being so democratic, right? And that is why Brazil is one of the top. It's on the top of active users in the world because it's a very democratic console, right? A way of playing, so everyone can play it around the country. So you see, like literally, people playing. And we're talking about Free Fire because we have Jota here. People playing and Renan. I mean, people playing Free Fire all around the country. So I agree with Jaime. I think the PC games are also ramping up. People are starting to like it, to understand it. PCs are starting to get a little bit more affordable, even though it's not affordable for everyone. But it's starting to get more affordable. It's starting to be on the, on your list. So that's what I want. That's the present I want. So yes, as the industry is growing, as it's becoming more mainstream, so every once in a while we see PC games and esports on open television, and that is great. That is great for all of us as an industry. And yes, I think that both has potential. They're different from each other, but both has potential. And I agree with Jaime that our organizations should be focusing in both for the future.
Renan,
Can I add something? Oh, sorry.
Of course. No, you can say,
No.
Chico. It's fine.
Can I, Renan? Sorry, guy. So, but from the brand's point of view, mobile and PC should be seen as complementary because although they are under the same umbrella, the same games thing, game scenario, they are different. They have different audiences, So when a brand comes to you and say, "Oh, I want to talk with the young audience," okay, gamers are young, are the perfect audience for that. But we, as part of the scenario, know and we know about the little fights about the fans from mobile and from PC, but in a very good way. There are different publics, different audiences. So I really think that and again, sorry for repeating myself, but when we think about the brands, they should see the both platforms as complementaries, as well as the console, Xbox and PlayStation, things like that.
Chico, because you brought that up, what can we see differently between those two when we look at the social and economic aspects?
But now it's time to Renan to answer. No.
Okay. See, our speakers are already taking charge of the conversation.
Thank you so much, Anna. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, guys. Bye. Okay, Renan, so I said first. I'm following Chico over here.
Yeah, no, happy to take it. I think just to piggyback on Chico again and comment on him, on his comment, I think our overall challenge right now is to bridge the gap between those two types of communities. That's what we, and I think everybody here is trying to do. Converging all gaming communities into one thing, ideally under our own team banners. Everybody here represents a team in a way, shape, or form. But I think we're starting to see fandom and supporters that will look and cheer for a specific team brand across multiple games. Turned out that gaming is actually pretty fun. Turns out that watching video games being played competitively is pretty fun as well. And a lot of people had the opportunity of doing that for the first time ever through Free Fire. But now that they're bit by the bug, they're not going to stop. And so I think they're going to follow on to a lot of other games. And of course, it's a process that's gonna roll, right? Like we're still going to have a couple of years and months to follow up on that. But I think all the brands that are here are doing a brilliant job in expanding those communities, not just because it's Free Fire, because it's mobile, but rather we're all one very large esports community that eventually will be able to converge into one. But certainly for now, there's a pretty big gap and difference between the types of players that we're seeing for not just these two types of games. I think there are differences between Free Fire, Mobile Legends, and some other games that are very accessible up to other high-end games, independently of whether they're on mobile or PC. So a PUBG Mobile, I saw a question about COD Mobile, for example, or even Fortnite on mobile. They're games that are not easily accessible either. And so I think they'll be in the same category as high-end PC games like CS or Valorant, for example, which have a very direct socioeconomic difference, right? It's people that have access to a high-end phone versus people that don't. People that have access to PCs and consoles. Consoles are very hard to get by in Brazil, so they're very expensive versus people that don't, right? And so the difference right then and there, at the end of the day, both audiences have a little bit of each other, right? Like it's not only people who don't have access, but they might watch Counter-Strike, even though they don't have a PC, they might watch Counter-Strike because it's, in my opinion, the best experience you could ever have watching esports. And so we're seeing that converge. We're not there yet, and the economic difference is pretty straightforward.
Yeah. Jota, what is your opinion on that?
Yeah, it's the same. It's the same. I'm just being a guy that is complimenting about everybody saying, because when it comes to my turn, I don't even know what to say anymore. But yeah, it's exactly like Renan said, is and Roberta especially, because we need to find a solution, to in the near future, maybe we can get someone that just likes to play in the PC, look to the people that doesn't even have the money to buy a PC, when you look to the phone and be like, all right, they're the same person as we are, because like Chico say, we have this comparison, which is so bad. And we have to talk about that. That is not even a way to, to not talk, because we know that we have this comparison, but yeah, we have Free Fire as well. Anna knows me probably more, and Renan as well. I work as a coach for the Free Fire people, but was it players that used to play on the PC and the computer? Jaime as example has the girls, as well, which they play on the computer, and Free Fire it took a longer time, so that all those players, they could looking at each other and be like, all right, we're playing the same game, but you play on this on the cell phone, I play on the computer, but we play the same game. This doesn't make us different at all. It's just because one is official and the other one is not official, but we just have like some kind of stuffs that we can figure out. Talking about brand and games, for me, as example, I think that everything starts in the mobile. Sometimes you get a cell phone from mom or dad as a gift, and you start to like to you start to create like a passion from esports, and some years go by and you just don't want to play on the cell phone anymore. You just save the money and buy a computer, and now you just start to create another community, starts to follow some other people, and this is the esports scenario. One thing goes to another, even if you don't want to, like you don't even realize, but sometimes oh, I don't like that guy, this guy talks like that and play on the computer. But some other way you just be like, hey, I'm watching his stream, like what am I doing? Like he's cool, you know. So yeah, I think everything starts on the phone or not. If you have a better condition, like Roberta say, you can just buy a computer, you know, and start in playing a computer. That doesn't make you any different from the people that starts on the mobile. But it's great to see that we getting to know each other and getting this community to accept this more often, you know.
I love this idea. I love this idea that Chico told that we are talking about different publics, like different audience, and but Renan brought this up that the esports like for mobile, like Free Fire is the door for esports. Like so,
Yeah.
Jota maybe started at Free Fire, but nowadays they are watching CS:GO, they are watching
Yeah.
CBLOL, they are watching other games. So I believe it's very special about the Brazilian scene in terms of what's happening right here.
I can't.
It doesn't matter where the public came from. The important thing that they stays in the esports scenario.
Yes, I was gonna say,
Yeah.
I can put me in an example. I played Free Fire my whole life. All right, 2 years.
Whoa!
A whole life,
Whoa.
yeah.
Wow.
It was a really bad career. You guys, okay, sorry. Yeah, but yeah, and I
Well,
coached
during the pandemic, everything could be the whole life in the pandemic.
Okay,
It's
the
true.
pandemic, it turns that the pandemic for me was something bigger than 2 years, if you guys understand.
Sure.
So
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, sure. Man.
I coached it for like 2 years, and a few days ago I was doing the all the stream, the watch party stream of the VCT Valorant Masters. So I changed my public. So people that were like Jaime was saying used to know me from Free Fire were looking at the transmission, be like, what is this guy doing? You know, like why he doesn't go to the mobile or to the PC, teach some players. But at the end of the day, you gotta get to used to this because I needed to study to do something like that. You know, you cannot just you start to watch a VCT party or something like that and not know what you're gonna say. So now I'm kind of in this transition where, oh, this is cool. I'm going, you know, because I want to learn. So just complete what Jaime was saying.
And just to add another point, there's a important thing about Free Fire. We have the mobile tournaments that are the biggest one, and we have the emulator scenario with Liga NFA. That's huge as well in Brazil. So Free Fire, we're saying about Free Fire as a mobile only. It's not a only mobile game, you know. We know about the things that Garena doesn't approve. I don't know how to say it, but the thing is, there's an audience for that, and
Yeah,
that's
sure.
what we should focus on. You know, about the audience, about the people themselves. I really think the gamer should be the protagonist in our scenario, not the games themselves or things like that. You know.
Yeah,
I agree.
Roberta, we are talking about how everything is connected, right? And I want to know from you, in a sponsor point of view, is there still one of them that is more interesting?
Yes, I was even going to say that I was going to add something when you asked Chico about the socio-economic of both, right? And I think that's the magic of it. I think in terms of sponsorship, what we need to understand from game to game for type of hardware to type of hardware is where is that audience? So when you're talking about Free Fire mobile, you're talking with the masses mostly. So if your sponsor wants to talk with the masses, wants to offer product to the masses, like Free Fires, that's where the sponsor needs to be. If you're talking about a sponsor where that wants to sell like a more expensive product or a more expensive service, then you look at Counter-Strike, for example, because for you to play, usually in Brazil at least, most of the people who cheer for esports, they play esports. They're players somehow, amateurs, but they play esports. So for you to play Counter-Strike or Valorant or Rainbow Six, you need to have, or League of Legends, you need to have a hardware with that it's pretty expensive for the masses. So if your sponsor wants to deal with, higher level products or to sell higher level products, wants to talk to, to a higher what can I say, richness. Oh my God, help me with the English here, you guys. But anyways, if they want not to talk with the masses, with like, you know, more wealthier people,
Wealthy, I believe it would
wealthier
be a
people,
word. Yeah.
yes. So they'll talk with, they'll be looking at Counter-Strike, they'll be looking at League of Legends, they'll be looking at Valorant. So I think that's so magical about, that's the magic about esports, right? It's, you can, and when looking at sponsors, and you can, depending on the game, depending on the hardware, you will talk to different people, because it's one big community, but it's like small communities into one big community. And if you have the punch, as Renan was saying, you will make the bridge. So as an organization, you will make the bridge between Free Fire consumers to Counter-Strike and so on and so forth. But when talking about sponsors, you will probably need to look at each different game for a different interest and a different sponsor. I don't know if I answered your question, but
you did.
Can I? There was an important thing to say about sponsor, about the prospects and sponsors or partners. That because we used to say that we have 60 to 70% of the Brazilians are gamers. I mean, they can be gamers, but when we speak about esports, you must, as I said, practice what you preach. So we have the 20 to 30% in esports. That's important to say because when you go to the numbers themselves, they will be this huge and not that huge. I mean, when you're speaking with people, the CS, LoL, Free Fire, all this, you're not speaking with Candy Crush audience or not even Minecraft. I mean, so it's very important to tell the brands, tell anyone who wants to know about our scenario, about the numbers themselves as they are. We are getting bigger and bigger and bigger, but and sometimes we want to show them the best numbers we have, and this get confused, you know. So but when you go to brands, huge brands, as to keep in the Roberta example, Itaú, you should show them the right numbers, you know, as they will see in the reports. Because if you put that your audience is the 60-70% of gamers, you won't be able to show them the real numbers as they are. And looking at that, maybe the engagement rate that is huge, that's the important thing, will not be will don't look like special as it is in itself. I don't know if I make myself clear, but if we go to the gamers numbers, our engagement it will be not that good. But if you go to the esports fans number, the engagement rate will be huge, and I think that where we should aim at.
It's important to be realistic. I think that's the main.
Is to tell the truth.
Yeah. And the numbers are very important, especially when we talk, Jota, about some teams. We have some teams in Brazil that now, and you are, you know, yeah, you are part of one that now have a global audience as a result of their success. And how do you see this, affect the domestic scene in our country?
Yeah, I was gonna say just right there. I don't even know if I was, I don't know,
we
feeling
had
that
some
we're gonna
mind
answer
thing going
this
on.
question, but it's just the answer that I'm gonna give you right now. It's just the answer that I was thinking about it. And as Chico say few minutes ago, the real perspective about public is just like he say, like it's 20 to 30%. But this is changing. This changes including to the influencers that the teams have and all that kind of stuff. So in my case, I'm part of Los Grandes, and in my stream, I talk about a lot of stuff. So I talk about Free Fire, which I talk about Valorant. I talked about some other games. So my community is very, is very. I don't know how to say this word in English. I'm sorry, my English sucks sometimes.
Oh, you're good.
You have a mixed audience.
Yeah, it's mixed. It's a mixed audience. So it comes from Free Fire, it comes from Valorant. When you're like streaming, someone comes, hey, you're gonna play Valorant today, or you're just gonna be talking about Free Fire. Like this happens all the time to me. because they wanted me to be fitting them with some kind of stuff. So when you're part of team like me, which it grew like so much to do the emulator scenario of Free Fire, and now see Los Grandes in League of Legends, Valorant, and other kind of stuff, it seems unreal to me. I was here when we were trying to put El Gato to play the Free Fire Brazilian League of Free Fire. So this is when it came from. So,
Yeah, but Jota, this is all esports audience, all of the Valorant, CS, LoL. This is all esports audience. I mean about the Candy Crush guys that one in the subway, who's playing in his mobile during this transit,
Yeah, I got your point. You're talking about the guy that is just trying to get his board off. You're just gonna.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna play Subway Surfers to see the time, pass. So
Exactly. That's it.
But yeah,
But it is interesting that we are talking about how being realistic with the numbers and the percentage of people that play a game or watches something related to esports are smaller than when we look at the gaming aspect in general. But at the same time, we have some huge numbers. Even so, even if we cut a little bit more further, we have some huge numbers. And James, I want to know from you, because I believe FURIA, we have so many examples over here that you guys are part of a major team that has received this global attention. How do you see this impacting, your work here in Brazil?
Okay, that's great. I believe the international success of Brazilian organization like FURIA, like MIBR and other organizations, I believe it improves the market, the Brazilian market even more. So first, because I believe it creates some kind of inspiration for the athletes to reach higher goals. Like now players want to be part of the world scene, not only from the national scene. So we have a lot of players trying become a top tier player, top tier athlete. I believe it's very good. And also, in the other hand, in terms of business, I believe when FURIA, for example, have some success internationally, it shows for the people, for the Brazilians, that it's possible to fight equally against the biggest sports organizations around the world, despite our economy, despite our social problems. So I believe the international success or our global audience make it better for the Brazilian. So we get more viewers, get more audience, get more sponsorships. So we create some kind of great snowball for the Brazilian domestic scene, I believe.
I'm very thankful to you guys because I was hired from a Norwegian club. So thank you guys. You're great. You're really doing a great job.
Thank you so much.
See, a pat on the back for everyone. Roberta,
The dinner is on you, Chico, next time.
Okay,
thank
Chico. We need to have dinner. Roberta, how has that impacted you personally and professionally, basically?
Well, I think that Jaime just said all. I mean, when FURIA gets to the playoffs and is playing well, it's good for everyone in Brazil. As I said, there's something very particular about the esports community, which is the Brazilian esports community, which is we cheer for Brazil. Of course, that if MIBR is playing FURIA, and our community will always cheer for MIBR. But if FURIA is there playing any other team around the world, we're going to be cheering for them. And that's amazing because we know that his success or FURIA's success somehow is the Brazilian esports industry success, and we all gain from it. So I think, and I fully agree with Jaime, the better we do around the world and the better we do globally, it's the best for all of us. And yes, as an organization, is our target, we aim to get to the global scenes. We went to get to global championships, to global tournaments. So because we know that our fans are going to be happy, and we know that our sponsors are going to be happy, and so on and so forth. So yeah.
And there's a curiosity.
I was cheering for FURIA at the majors.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, me too.
I love you, man. I love you, man. So, Roberta, I believe there's another point here that I know that MIBR players and FURIA players had some beef in the past, But in the business level, we love each other. I love Roberta. I love
Exactly.
Fly. So
Do you? Oh,
yeah, sure. I'm being
No, it's
honest here.
true. Yes.
Yeah, I
yeah.
believe that
In the
there's
server,
no.
we're always gonna be
Yeah, you're
enemies,
gonna kill
right?
each other, but
And we
Yes,
want to
exactly.
kill
outside
each
of the
That's
other.
server, it's good. But I
perfect.
Yes.
used to say that there's no Real Madrid without a Barcelona. So we need to create
Exactly.
some kind of rivalry. It's good for the scene, but in the business level, we are very professional, very elegant. So we treat everything in the most respectful way. So that's the way that we like to work.
Yeah, Renan, we
Exactly.
talked a lot about Free Fire and how Free Fire has impacted all of this, but we have some other games that helped this development as well for our region. Which ones would you point out?
Definitely Counter-Strike. We're talking about global stages, right? And so being major winners, all the brands that the guys have built around CF. I think it makes the game by far and large the most iconic title we've ever had for Brazilian esports. So that's there. We're seeing a pretty huge influx of players into Valorant now, and of course with Loud's success within the game, and also then again, when Brazilians win internationally, Brazilians get behind the team. So the effect that's also ongoing over there, and even to an extent, just I know Free Fire aside, but within Free Fire, that the fact that Corinthians was a world champion in 2019 was enormously important for the game's growth in Brazil, right? It was not just Brazilians winning, but it was also pretty iconic brand as a whole for the country, and so that got everybody's attention even more. But as far as global stages goes, and as far as international importance goes, Jaime, of course, has a bunch of teams. Just won the Rocket League Worlds, and so my man's doing well internationally. But I think I would pinpoint those three.
When is gonna be your CS:GO announcement?
I don't know. I don't know what you're talking about.
Well,
See
we
you
are
soon.
talking about a lot about the global aspect, and we as Brazilians we do look forward this type of events and situations where we get to cheer for our country somehow. But for that happen, we need to have a well-rounded tournament and scene here in our country. So, Chico, I want to know from you. How are those tournaments organized? How do they get so well structured to build up this audience enough for us to cheer when a team goes abroad?
Well, we're just restarting all the events, so there's a huge hype about anything that it's happening, and that's good. Uh, our CBLOL is always a good example about how they do their stuff, right? Do their stuff. LBFF with Garena as well. We have ESL bringing us the major this year, and that's huge. All the events are sold out. The infrastructure is getting well. Rock in Rio, as Roberta said before, has the Arena XP. We are just having a fair nowadays in Brazil, in São Paulo. So I think all these events are very important because the brands can and as a head of partnerships, I'm always will look at the brand's point of view. Different from Jaime, Roberta, Renan. There are CEOs. I take care of the brands and the partners. So there's a little
Humble
difference,
guy.
but
You're humble.
thank you,
Try
Jaime.
being humble. Yeah.
Oh, Jaime.
You're the
Jaime is
best.
great, Sir Jaime. But the thing is, it's a huge opportunity to brands to see the gamer, because one thing about that I face it when I just got in the scenario is that when you think about a hipster or a skater, a surfer, or something like that, you know who they are about their look. You know what I mean? So when you say about the gamer, they don't know. You don't know how they look like. And when the brands had the chance to go to these events, fairs, whatever, they see everybody's a gamer, and that's a huge thing for us. And so the pandemic was good for the audience, but for the revenues, not so great. And now we have the chance to get this. Sorry about that. About the the money again. We have to show the money. I mean, who we are, what we do, because every gamers eats, go to the movies, goes out. So that's the thing. So for the brands, it's good to see ourselves and the main scenario.
Yeah, Jota, how do you see our own tournaments here?
Oh, I'm so excited. I don't even play CS, but I'm gonna be there cheering. Trust me, I'm gonna be screaming so bad because, you know, like we don't even know the future, but I know for a thing, I know one thing for sure that is gonna happen, you know. So, and we used to live in Rio a few weeks ago. Just moved back to São Paulo, and I'm sad already because I wanted to be there. I know that it's like neighbors, but I feel like it's gonna be great, like to see LBFF as an example. I can't wait to see like one of the events, coming with people watching now, and to see some kids that can see, like Chico say, all the players just through a cell phone or a PC, and see them as a person, and show and the main point to me is not even why the events are coming to Brazil. Is the point is that this is like the big opportunity to the kids to show their mom, their dad, that this is is true. This happens. I can even tell how many kids came to me to say that, oh my God, I cannot do this anymore because my family does not support me. So I just be heartbroken about it, because we all know that exists some kind of pressure about the family, like, all right, you have a month to show me some kind of money coming from this, or I'm gonna cancel this and I'm gonna sell your computer. It's just something like it happened to me, so I know it's true. But this event coming in person, is gonna be a great door just to have some fun, to feel the energy, to know people that you just like admire through the social medias, and especially, and the main point, like as I say before, to show their family that is something big that you can achieve. A kid that wants to play soccer, he just needs to turn on his TV and see his favorite soccer play on the TV. Like, but the mom doesn't know that if he wanted to watch ESL, he has to go to Gaules or something like that, which is a website that probably 85% of the traditional Brazilian families never heard about it. So it's gonna be
Jota,
great.
Jota, it's crazy because the esports industry is very big, but we lived like a invisible
Yes.
society, right?
Yeah.
So
Yes.
maybe we have a tournament here,
Yeah.
1,100 people watching the game, but around the stadium, nobody knows what's happening. So it's crazy.
Exactly.
This happens a
Great
lot. Like
point. Yeah.
And it still happens. This still happens,
Jaime is
right?
perfect as you always.
it still happens, and it's gonna be happening until we continue to do our job. I mean,
Yeah.
I say our job because I have a mission, I have a job. You guys have your jobs, but
No, it's our jobs. It's our job.
It's our jobs together.
Yeah, exactly. The sports scenario is our job.
oh
Yeah,
yeah,
it's our
so
mission.
when I say our job, I say like that we have to be turning these every time. We have to be sharing social media. We have to be showing people that it happens. Like that. Your son doesn't even need to go out to get 1,000 real to survive, to help the family. He can do that through his phone. And
Yeah.
that he doesn't need to stop going to college or school to get some grades. He can do this over his phone. So everything, you can do everything through his phone. You just need to educate himself, show them which is the right way, which is go to school, graduate, never give up. You have to control is the worst part about it, but the good part is that he can do it. So it's gonna be great. I'm so excited about these events coming to Brazil.
I'm so happy. I'm so happy with everything that we were able to explain. And I think this conversation was very, impactful and has lightened up a little more about our country, that we see a lot of people, getting their own opinions, but it's great for us to have our own voice and being able to explain it all to you. So a special thank you for you guys. Thank you so much, James, Roberta, Jota, Chico, Renan. Thank you so much to our speakers. And that wraps things up. So thank you that is watching for joining us today. And we have our next Level Up Summit coming up in August. So be sure to look for our emails and join the Level Up LinkedIn group, which has also been posted in the comments. Okay, make sure to join us for some networking breakout rooms now with the speakers and other industry professionals. This session is open to everyone, and they prove extremely valuable in making connections within the esports scene. So we definitely encourage you to join. The link will be posted in the comments right now. Thank you so much again, everybody, for joining us and watching and participating. And I see you next time. Bye.